Mayele wamlak silo samanzi zinyo lengwenya uboya bengwe Heru sekem ank amun uchayingwe umbona utukutu mandlana udla umvubu ukhiphi kutyede lo sinqwazi semfene ukasityeketye ngikhuliswa intombi yasemabheleni okhuboni omafu ondaba ezitha ke mangisho njalo inkosi kayiqedwa ngoba kungajika ilanga siloko silandana nomlando ukuthi umuntu uwubani uyini
Ngiwaphi?
kuyiwaphi kubuyiwaphi
Mm, mm.
welcome my brother, my enemy, my friend, my yonke into siyalwa nalensizwa babethu
Yeah.
siyalwa nalensizwa lena ngazi ukuthi lo sihlanganisile la namhlanje ufuna ukubona kuchitheka igazi na into esilwelayo nalensizwa le uzozazisa yena ukuthi ubani mina ngizokutshela ukuthi mina ngimazi kanjani lensizwa le sixabanela ukuthi why ngizothanda iSwati mina ngumXhosa kungani sibanga loluthando nalensizwa
Hayi sibanga into enhle, sibanga into yokubangwa.
sithandana so much that khona leya ngoma bathi ubani konje uthi I hate the way I love you or I love the way I hate you.
Yeah, I hate the way I love you. Yeah,
inkinga Maseko nina ninamanga man na into esixabanisayo ngokuthanda too much yiko ngingakwazi ukukubulala but ninamanga nina
ngibulaleki
ninamanga ncamane man before ngitshela abantu ilist yamanga wakho obatshela iqiniso ngawe
hawu umenze umfana wakwaMashu uyabo umfana wakwaMashu intwana kaGudu unonozi Mahadebe ibhungane elihle ezalwa ibhungane omakhulukhulu ngizalwa intombi yakwaHadebe kodwa ngizalwa insizwa bathi imajuba manje these days kodwa ke ngapha ngakwaNtreghe yazi Ntreghe ya Intreghe ngapha ngababiza ngeNewcastle abanye so Tom London babebiza ngoTom London ngoba kuThomas so ngiphuma ngalapha ngasogwini-ke ngapha ngakwaZulu yabo bathi seThekwini abanye abalaziyo ke ukuthi lichaza ukuthini lelo gama sebezo understand ukuthi iTheku lisho ukuthini ngokuhlala ke manje sikhona la eGoli ngisondelene nawe Sekhukhune mina ke le ndawo yonke ngiyibiza ngeSekhukhune land so indawo ngisayibiza ngamagama amakhosi kwaDukuza nginendawo kaDukuza isigodlo sakaMaseko soba kwaDukuza sisasakha kancane kancane so ngiphuma lapho ngizobuyela lapho inkaba yami ile kwaZulu kodwa ke ngokumsebenzi sisebenza yonke indawo nasemkhathini nasemoyeni nasekujuleni even in the shallow and the deep end we are working yeah so umenzi Maseko ngiyabhala ngiyatolika ngeke ngaba usonkondlo some imbongi I'm not quite imbongi yeah ngibongela makhosi usonkondlo sihaye inkondlo yeah been created a lot of poetry organizations co-created ngoba siyakhana imizi yethu siyakhisana sibambisene poetry, literature, creative writing, history, heritage things I'm interested in is isintu sami nokuthi siziphatha kanjani ngesintu
naku la ngibamba khona ke naku la sixabana khona ngalento ukuthiwa yisintu
yebo
Maseko
ayimanithi
Ncamane Ngwane Khubonye
Ntantulukwane
inkosi yami uyabhala
Ndlovu zidle ekhaya ngokweswela belusi
hayi inkondlo uma phambi kwabantu ukhulume ngiyakwazi nokukubona kulomabona kude nakulabo kulobo TikTok laba
Basiveza
YouTube laba ukhuluma lapha ufunda iy'ncwadi zomazisi
Obani, bani, bani.
iGunene
Hawu,
nawubani,
ikhesha lami leli, mazisi
ufundela
iGunene,
abantu,
uMtimande.
ufundela abantu iy'ncwadi. Wemaseko, ungani ungatshela abantu iqiniso?
Siyazama ukutshela abantu iqiniso, Sefem.
Lani
Shekem.
qala.
Iqiniso labo ngabo ukuthi siyimvelo, imvelaphi yethu iyinkombandlela ukuthi singaphila kanjani ngokuphilisana, ngokuzwana singabantu. Asishumayeli wena Nkosi yami. Yabo, asizile ukuzoshumayela, sizokwenzani? Sizokwakhana, sibambisane. Siphose itshe esivivaneni. Angithi kuthiwa noma kwakhiwa umuzi wesintu awudluli ngendlela ubona abantu bakha, nawe uyathatha lokho ongakufaka uxhume lapho ufake, noma mawakha iroof ufake lobo tshani obufakwayo, mawukuthi ukwazi ukusebenza ngodaka ushaye udaka, mawukwazi ukwenza ngokhuni, whatever you can contribute to the construction of the nation, do it.
amaTsonga bathi angeke ngisho ngesitsonga ngizoyigeja,
Hayi,
kodwa bathi mase ngitolika,
ujile lo lwalimi.
awuyi esigodlweni senkosi ungaphethe isikhuni esivuthayo.
Nomngenandlini.
Aha.
Mhm.
Isikhuni esivuthayo. Awudluli emzini wenye indoda nje.
Ungacontribute.
Ubona ukuthi man, madoda ayasebenza lapho. Maseko, siyilahle iplento.
Silahle lapho. Ubambe lapho nje. Angithi uthe angeke udlule abanye abantu besebenza. Udlule ngendlela ubone ukuthi lapha. Yazi kufana nento esimpuli. Ukubona uma umuntu efelwe imoto emgwaqweni. The car breaks down, whether it's a lady or a man. People get there, they don't have to be asked permission. They don't ask permission to help you to push or to check your engine or to do what. Ubuntu lobo, uyabo. Ubuntu is not a theory or a philosophy. Indlela yokwenza. Eqhamuka ngaphakathi emntwini, uyabo. So uma ngikhuluma ngesintu ngikhuluma ngalezo zinto ezifana nalezo. Angikhulumi ngemkhuba. Imkhuba is one thing.
I'm
Singakhuluma ngayo
concerned. Uthi ubuntu.
Ukubambisana, ubuntu ukubambisana.
Ubuntu, it should come naturally.
Yeah, Nkosi yami.
But my concern is, are we not now in our fight against religion, in our fight against the influence of westernization?
We're not fighting religion. We are engaging with it.
In our quest to engage with religion, are we not then replacing said religion with a religion that we now call isintu?
Self-knowledge is not religion. Self-knowledge is not a religious pursuit. It's not an institution. Self-knowledge. Well, it can become an institution when we apply controls to it and try to measure it and try to direct it to a certain outcome. So religion itself becomes a distraction, just like racism, just like economy. When the economy is administered from an external source, isintu is not none of these things. Isintu impilo siko, ukuphila kwabantu. Isintu njengoba I think sakhuluma kwenye conversation now ukuthi you can go to Korea, you can go to Panama, or you can go to Suriname, or you can go to the Deutschland, the Germans. You can go to Ireland, you can go to Japan. Anywhere you want to go, you can go to Namibia, you can go to Nuba in Sudan. Baphila labo bantu indlela baphila ngayo isintu sabo. Yabo, indlela baphila ngayo. Bese kuba khona globalization, izinto ziyaglobalizwa ziba imported izinto. That's when problems begin.
Are we not now globalizing isintu? Are we not being guilty of the same crime?
Isintu is in the globe or on the globe, or if the earth is a globe. Isintu is here.
Okay.
It's a factor and it has been used to organize other peoples. Okay. They use it. They use the same thing that we are.
So
when they capture us, or capture our abantu bakithi, our relatives, whether it's from Angola or from Mozambique or from Ghana or from Nigeria, whatever coastal land or Senegal, wherever we have been taken away, knowledge to travel nathi. And even before slavery, before the times of slavery, when people were being taken by force to go and live in another land, yabona Nkosi yami bebehamba nento zabo. Angithi nesintu, I like to say isintu because I'm avoiding to say ngesizulu. Yebo mina ngikhuluma isiZulu, but kunale tendency ukuthi mangithi into isiZulu, sathi ngikhuluma particularly only for amaZulu. Kanti no.
Yeah.
I'm talking on behalf of abantu behlangene imizi ngemizi, right? So kuthiwa sehla ngesilulu, angithi abanye bathi sehla ngesilulu. It's a story of a people abathi behla ngesilulu beqhamuka endaweni ethize, benhle beqhamuka enhla. These days, people are theorizing about what's this Lulu. Before it was not a theory, it was
a fact.
Indaba nje ukuthi Abobani Untuli mhlambe
ontula amabhele.
amabhele
Ehhe.
nabambo abathize
Mhm.
baqhamuka nento abasuke beyiphethe beqhamuka lapho where they are coming from.
Iphethe
So
imfihlo zabo nempilo siko
exactly
labo.
i-mode of living yabo is carried in this repository or in these symbols
Now,
or in these
if
stories.
I now
Mm.
write a book,
Nkosi yami.
make a show, podcast or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
go around lecturing,
Mm.
trying to convert you, a confessed,
Conversion is a religious concept.
are we not now guilty of the same crime?
Who are we? When you say we, who are you talking
The
about?
so-called woke Africans.
We
Look at it from
we are
this
not
perspective.
we are not all woke as much as we are awake, as much as we are awake, as much as we are awake. Yeah,
You are not woke yet.
not everyone who's telling who's trying to reveal something about abantu describes themselves as woke. You see, nama labels and now they are part of the religious indoctrination. Dogma.
This is where I want to drive my question to.
Mm.
Ukuthi ngamani sinenkinga manje yokuthi, and I don't want us to get kwindaba zokuthwasa nobungoma nani, but I'm going to touch onto it as an example. The uniformity of the spiritual practice.
Uniformity.
Is that not conversion?
It is. If it's uniform, it's a class. It's an
Are we
order.
therefore not guilty of the same crime in the African spiritual space now?
Okay, yeah.
Where we are going to be saying, no, in African spirituality as a whole, and we do not look at the nuances of laba behla ngesilulu sithwele imithi yabo. Nembewu yabo,
technology yabo yonke.
Yonke into yabo iphelele.
Is in this ship.
If now we are going to universalize,
we can't.
Or global, and not universalize, because the concept of isintu, as we've both agreed on, is that it's a universal thing.
Yeah.
China baphila isintu sabo.
Yeah.
Kuphi baphila isintu sabo. What is it about lesi sethu isintu?
It's a particular.
It's a particular.
You're driving this point in a lot of your conversation, and I like it because it ihluba udlubu ekhasini.
This is what I want to
in
get.
English. Can you say udlubu ekhasini in English?
And ngibuza wena.
Okay, sharpening the contradictions.
You.
I'm one of those.
Uphakathi ngamani.
Yeah, ngiphakathi, but I'm outside.
But I understand
when you are God, you stand outside looking in.
I understand you are on the periphery, but you understand exactly what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying.
Why do we want to make another 10 commandments yesintu?
We shouldn't. See,
and an Old Testament,
wherever
New
it's
Testament.
happening, it's a manifestation of old habits into something new. It's like what
Pinda.
Ubrother Yeshua watini, putting wine skin,
new wine in old
wine skin. Yeah, new wine in old skin.
Yeah, but we are going to get ostracized for quoting the Bible right now because
the Bible is a book
we are quoting Jesus.
We've read. The Bible is a book we've read and studied. And some of it,
but it's a colonizer's book.
We don't mind. It's a book. Every book. Now, if I write a book and 10,000 people read it, I've colonized their minds. Any book, even if it's my book. As men's. Say, Buffett, listen. No, listen, Buffett. No, colony is an English word that basically means to claim space. To acquire that space and make it yours.
Is it necessarily
not acquire by whatever means
or bad?
Involuntary, noma kanjani, but okusalayo.
We colonize each other's spaces every day.
Yeah, but black people have not done it the way white people have done it. Let's be very clear about that.
Okay.
Because as I'm speaking now,
the systematic
I'm wearing that hat
application now.
I'm putting on that hat of black supreme, black power.
Yeah, melanin people.
Yeah, with or without the melanin science, but generally black power, on a political level, on an organizational level, on a historical level. Black people have not gone into other people's lands like that and done that. And unless we are talking internal, the stories we can talk about
I
that.
beg to differ. Hannibal Barca.
Yeah, but they did not.
A
See,
black man
colonization is about
left
about
Africa
quantity,
and
Nkosi yami.
invaded Rome.
No, it's about quantity and quality of that colonization.
No, but the quality and the quantity is that in Rome, they're still practicing traditions that were left by Hannibal Barca.
Yeah, but Hannibal is a general. Hannibal is not the whole of African thought. It's not the whole. It does not represent the whole.
David Livingstone does not represent the whole of London.
Exactly.
He was one white man.
True.
Cecil
It's like
John Rhodes
does not represent
the whole of Britain.
Songhai.
He's one man.
Yeah.
Why Maugu Hannibal Barca? Because he's black, it's better.
No, it's not because they're black. It's because of a scale. On scale.
It is a large scale. He invaded the whole continent, Europe. Hannibal Barca
invaded
on the back of elephants
and enslaved everyone in there and took their land and made it their.
How else
empire.
did he become ruler?
Empire, whole of Europe.
How else did not the whole of Europe?
Okay, parts of Europe
are not the rulers in the whole of Africa.
No, Pelo, you must understand, we are not talking about Umlungu as an individual here. We are talking about a supremacist system, a white supremacist system.
Which came
this is what if we talk about fight, we are fighting against
which
that.
Came with individuals.
You're not even engaging
as much
with
as
that.
The Moors, what did the Moors do in Spain?
Well, let me tell you what they
Portugal.
did. They civilized it.
They
brought civilization.
Oh, wow.
They brought civilization.
Wow.
No, let me explain why. Okay, give me a chance to explain. Do you mind giving me 5 minutes to explain?
Yeah, man.
Let me explain this thing, the relationship between of we and them. Let's talk about we and them. It's good that I'm quoting someone who's half black, half white. Whose father is white and his mother is black. Now, he says, we don't know how we and them are going to work it out. One of his songs. We don't know how we and them are going to work it out, But then he adds another line. Someone will have to pay for the innocent blood that they shed. So, you see, Africa traveling into other places, Africans traveling into other places, cannot be compared to the system, the 1,000-year-old system of the false system. I'll call it false, and I'll tell you why, because I only got 5 minutes. It's a false doctrine of something that barely exists, which is race. This entity called race it's a system, a created way for power, for reasons of power. So white people, in their overpowering of other nations, not just Africa. Go to Australia, it's the same thing. Go to the Americas, it's the same thing. Melanated people are suffering under the boot of whiteness, so-called whiteness. Now, whiteness is not, I'm not talking about individual whites, Mr. Smith, no Mr. Van Heerden or Mr. Steenkamp here and there. We're not talking about Ngosana Yabantu. We are talking about an overwhelming system that is, this is diabolical. I say it's diabolical because it's devilish in its nature and in its destruction. It not only destroys amasiko abantu, the people's traditions, it doesn't only take land and claim it as its own. It's a system that works everywhere the same way. So I'm for black unity, African unity, which creates black power, whether it's economical, spiritual, territorial, sovereign, whatever ways power can be claimed back. Because I believe that it will equal the playing field. Not that it's going to stomp down Abelung. I'm not interested in killing others for the sake of eliminating them. I'm not I'm not interested in we black power Pan-Africanists. We're not interested in competing with white people. We're not interested in competing with capitalism. We are interested in recreating our own system, living comfortably with nature. Sakhe imizi yethu, sakhe ama-institutions ethu, whether it's education, whatever. Siphile impilo yethu according to our own dictates, not according to impoqabulungu. What I always talk about, impoqabulungu, Nkosi yami, ukuthi kunalento ukuthi it's called white supremacy because it's kind of like a system that overwhelms everything. It takes over everything, whether it's education system, whether it's the way you see God, whether it's the way you trade, whether it's the way you speak. Manje, we are talking impoqabulungu. We're talking Isingisi. The French are doing the same thing. The Portuguese, the black French. You see? So it's problematic. It's
I hear what you're saying. I hear, and it's true. And historically, there's thousands and thousands of books that prove what
it must be eliminated.
But where I'm coming from is I understand black power. I understand Pan-Africanism. I understand the unity of Africans and black people. I understand
universal even.
I stand for the unity of all humanity.
Oh, you're a humanist.
Me. Until the color of man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes.
Everywhere there will be war.
I'm of Haile Selassie's dictates.
Okay, I got you.
I'm thinking from Haile Selassie's
I
teaching.
understand what you are saying.
Until the color of a man's skin is of no more significant than the color of his eyes.
There's a time for everything. His Majesty says until. You see, this until is very significant.
But
in the
that
speech of His
until
Majesty.
means until somebody does it.
Okay,
In
works
another
on
speech,
it. Yeah,
Haile
becomes
Selassie
it.
says, evil carries on in the world because righteous people sit
Do
back
nothing.
and do nothing.
It's true. His
So that
Majesty is right.
until is going to be determined by either me
Operative.
or you,
It's an operative word.
or you at home, until we stop pinning white and black against each other.
Yes.
Until we stop seeing white crime as a crime and black crime as a black man fighting for his
Yes, it's secondary to the white
sovereignty.
man's crime.
Do you understand? Because what you are saying, yes, institutionally, white people did this to Africa.
They are doing it.
They're still doing it.
Yeah.
But I beg to show you also thousands of historical books that show you
Black people doing the
how
same
black
thing.
people did the same thing.
To whom?
Not only in Europe, Spain, Portugal,
Yes.
Turkey,
Italy.
Rome, Greece.
I've not heard
India,
where black people
Arabia,
subdued other races
Mesopotamia,
and driven them off as
Babylon,
slaves.
Sumeria, China, Japan,
So where are these?
Australia,
Where are these white races?
New Zealand?
Where are these races that are transported by black people across the world in order to form their own empire?
By
black people. Where is this empire of black people that has captured other races and created their own empire from their bones?
Let me show you. Let me show you. Here in South Africa, sinesizwe samantshali.
Yep, Manchali.
How did they get to live where they are living in the lands that they are calling ancestral lands now? Because I've got historical facts to prove to you.
We arrived somewhere.
They were mercenaries. They came and took over people's lands.
Okay.
Just
like Sopoza did to the Sebos.
Now, is that not colonialism?
It's called invasion.
Are you not invading me?
It's
a
invasion.
Black man invading another black man.
It's different from colonialism, but it's invasion.
Is better than Hitler's invasion?
We are not comparing evils, Nkosiyami. What we are doing.
That's what you are doing.
No, that's not what I'm doing. That's what you think I'm doing. What I'm doing is explaining why white supremacy is evil and black power is not.
But I'm trying to show you that even within the black community,
and that's
this is your language, not mine.
Yeah.
What do you mean, when
it's called discrimination.
Come on,
it's called discrimination.
Nah, man.
See, we must be topical with this thing and pace. Let's give us each other, both of us, pace. I hear what you are saying and I hear what you are coming from, and I respect what you are saying, especially when you say the oneness of all humanity. I also stand for that. But just because I love my family much more than strangers, you see, my family, I'm talking about my bloodline, you see, and the experience of my bloodline, Africa Yonke and the whole black world is my bloodline.
So you're admitting that your philosophy is based on a biased
No, it's not a
standpoint. No, my family first.
Love first. See, love is not biased. Just because I love me does not mean I don't love you. You see, just because I love myself and I love my things, and I believe that there should be justice with regards to how my things are controlled. See, this whole thing, we're talking power. Power is measured in give and take. Laba abathathile abathathanga kwaze kweqe. Laba abathathayo abagamanqanga, yabo. So I want to take it a bit to Kemet, because there's this colonialization issue. It also touches on there. There's lots of talk about Kemet colonized what. Black people colonized each other, even in Kemet. About things like that. Ubulungiswa abantu bangabantu babulungiswa. Sengikhuluma ngabantu original people. When I'm speaking about original people, I'm talking about the first people. African people, what they call African now. Some may say it's a Khoisan or Batwa or Baorot. I am not there. I'm not in the debate. But I know that those that they are mentioning, they are also in Africa. So when I'm talking about those people, these are people who are the parents of the whole of humanity. So the parent cannot allow the child just to run amok in Esabelweni. You see, the earth is given to us as a responsibility to take care of. It takes care of us. So now we have a responsibility to take care of it,
Reciprocate.
right? So when some of our children, including us, including our own, our bloodline, immediate bloodline, behave in a way that is destructive to unomkhubulwane, which is umhlaba wethu, the earth itself, yabo. We have to act against it. There has to be justice. Justice has to be demanded, but not just demanded, but it has to be practiced. Ukuze kuphiliswane. Yabona mina mfethu wena Silo Samanzi. Inhloso kaMenzi Maseko is to equal the playing field between not just human beings, but nature, human beings, extraterrestrials, whatever you want to think. As long as it's living, as long as it's vibrating with some kind of spark, divine spark.
Equal.
Angibe nokwami na ube nokwakho siphathisane.
I'm very much aware, Mtakababa, ukuthi what I'm standing for right now in this conversation is going to get me so much flack from the people who are going to be listening here.
Yeah. From the black world mostly.
Especially the black world.
But we have the right to defend ourselves, Mkhulu.
Especially from the...
but to defend our turf also.
I'm not taking away, I'm not saying...
But why do you say that?
Right
so what do you say when you say these
wrong
things?
On the left is wrong on the right. That's what I'm saying.
No one is saying that is wrong, what you are saying.
No, I'm saying
but
wrong on the left
equal.
Is wrong on the right. And wrong on the left... Now, the playing field is not equal.
It's a comparing sheep and cows. They're not equal.
Okay, let me ask you a question now. So if a sheep happens to get into your house...
The book of Enoch.
A sheep happens to get into your house and eats your cabbages on the vegetable rack.
Yeah, yonile leyo.
Yeah.
Whether it's black or white.
After that, a cow
does the same
comes in and eats. Which is the bigger crime?
The crimes are equal.
This is what I'm saying. So Hannibal Barca...
So we are saying no more crimes.
What I'm saying is, Hannibal Barca, the Moors and the Africans that traveled and invaded other lands, I mean, even amongst us, we know he took lands from people.
That's a fact.
We know about Uvela Bampensela Umthembu, wafike Lesotho and plundered their cows. And he said he will not stop taking their cows until they give him virgins. Bavele Bampensela. And the Sotho king gave 14 virgins. Bampensela. And he stopped. Now, crime.
Yeah, crime. Ngiyavuma ngithi ngivumelene now. When you said when you made the analogy of the cow and the sheep. Ngiyavumelana nawe there.
Kunamabhaca, kunamahlubi, kunamandebele, kunabesuthu. Izizwe ezihluka kodwa bonke ba practice isiXhosa. Were they not colonized by uXhosa? Were their cultures individually not
colonization
subjugated?
Is a different thing, Nkosiyami.
It can't be different.
Can you explain it even further?
These people came and changed our cultures, disturbed our way of life. My question is, uXhosa did not disturb uHlubi's way of life, yes or no? Nakoge. Did not uXhosa disturb uBhaca's way of life, yes or no?
Akufani. I-colonization nalezi zinto oyichazayo akufani. Ngicela ukubuyela nje lapha.
Sidlala ngamagama.
No, akukho ukudlala ngamagama. Ngithe ekuqaleni bengizama ukubeka nge-English so that more people can maybe understand what we are speaking about. Mangithi scale. Mangithi i-quantity ne-quality lezi zinto azifani. Hannibal's adventures in the
they were adventures.
Yeah, whatever you may call it. You can call it colonization, whatever you call it. But it was not colonizing in the strict sense of the term, the way it is understood now, right? So yikho bengithi ngifuna siyibuyisele emuva mhlambe nakonke abazwe endaweni.
Let me throw a spanner in the works.
Ngiqede into engishoyo. Imibuso ihlukahlukene vele njengeyibongo nemindeni ihlukahlukene. Kingdoms are different, they have different customs, they have different things, right? And as time goes by, there's always a space or chances or instances of invasion or even sometimes amalgamation or sometimes absorption by various different ways. You know, Muslims pride themselves by saying all these other peoples that they adopted, and submit to Islam. They are all Muslims. They are equal under Allah, right? Whatever skin color you are equal under Allah.
Until you
So
get
yeah,
inside.
ngiyalapho ekutheni kukhona lobu bunye babantu bonke jikelele. I mean, in whatever different colors or races they are, there's that oneness. We are on one earth. We are basically a human race, right? But within the race, kuna lama yabo.
Lama nitty-gritty.
Yeah, right. Imizi ehlukahlukene, right? So ngeke ngifike emzini wakho ngizokwenza indlela yakaMaseko and think that it's just because maybe your grandfather did it to me. No, I'm doing it to you because your grandmother did it to me. We're not talking revenge here. We're talking about just justice, equaling the playing field between abantu abansundu nabanye abantu. Generally, even whether it's Amashayina, it's not a matter of comparing wrong and right.
It's in the works.
Yeah, but are you hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing you, and I appreciate it.
Okay.
Gahle. And I'm all for the level playing field.
Yeah.
Here's where my spanner in the works comes in.
Ubulungiswa that you are asking for.
We have white families in Europe. Of the 25 old Scottish families, 18 of them are originally black. Today they are all white.
Oh, Windsor. Oh, what you
hear me?
Epigenetics, or whatever they call it. Yeah.
The Irish, at some point,
they call themselves the black.
They call themselves the blacks
of Britain
because they are the descendants of black people.
There's another story. There's another explanation.
There's another explanation, but we know myth and history is something different.
Yeah.
Here we're talking historicity.
Yeah.
The Scottish are
I did
white.
say we are parents of every race. Have I not already crossed that bridge?
No. But this is the spanner I'm trying to throw. Those white people, our children, we gave birth to them, decided to come home and reclaim their a piece of their ancestral land.
Is that what they called it when they came here?
No. I'm saying
economic.
I'm being
nature.
The devil here. Understand?
Yeah,
and I know I'm going to take flag. My Pan-Africanist too. Please.
But
we are having a conversation here.
As an agent. A betrayal of the race. Masonic ring. Hey, Ankh versus Mason. Ankh Mason. Yeah, sorry. Nice. Yeah,
so I know I'm going to take flag for this, but I stand by what I'm saying, Uguti. These white people, as you all say, are our
Europeans.
Children.
They're not white.
The Europeans, they are our children. So now, umntwana ubuye ekhaya, ufuna nayo ukuba nesabelo ekhaya.
The problem, he comes back as a tyrant. He doesn't go. He doesn't come back as a builder.
How?
That's the problem. It's the mannerism. I'm a manners.
Okay, let's
deal with manners.
You mentioned Kemet. Mentioned Kemet. At some point in European Greek history, which mangiti European as a whole, but Greek Pambil, is because the Greeks ruled the education system in Europe,
Hellenistic
system. Hellenistic system. At some point, they considered the land beyond the Medu Taras or the Mediterranean. Medu Taras, the Middle Earth.
Yeah. Zagash.
Right? They considered the land beyond Middle Earth as the land of the gods. Right?
Terra Dios.
Terra Dios. So they were in the land of man. Terra Mundi.
I love the way you answer yourself.
My man. But this is what I'm saying to you, Uguti. This is where now our perspectives
differ.
Because we all know the same history, but because a black man stole milk, is better than a white man stealing milk.
That's not what we are saying.
He's stealing because he was hungry. The white man stealing because he's selfish. What about his hunger?
But two wrongs, as much as two wrongs don't make it right, Justice is about not just only equaling the
No,
playing field. It's about
let me
harmony.
finish this
Harmony,
this
Nkosi yami.
piece about this three divisions of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
land.
yeah.
So at Rex Mundi, at Terra Mundi,
Yeah, yeah.
the level of earth, the physical world, the lower earth, they perceived above them as the land of God.
Mount Olympus.
Mount Olympus.
Mount Zion, if you are.
Do you understand? What made them so angry as to pick up arms and invade the one place they themselves
the land of the
considered
gods.
heaven?
You remember I said adventure when you're talking about
No,
Hannibal.
but
They were being
I hear you.
adventurous. Alexander the Greek.
No. Man.
It's
I
curiosity, my
myself
king. And then when you get
considered
there, you
these
find,
people the
I want to
gods.
take it.
Listen, the Greeks, the Europeans considered us their gods.
Yeah.
Zeus is an Ethiopian god.
It's because we are gods.
Aphrodite is an Ethiopian princess. All the Greek gods, Hercules is Sostresis, the man from Uganda. All the Greek gods are Africans, right?
Or hybrid of African gods.
No. Asiyagama hybrid.
Development.
But my question is,
if they didn't exist 5,000 years ago, they existed 3,000 years.
Why would the one people who considered us gods get angry and invade us?
Children do craziest things, bro. Children do the craziest things. Children throw around their toys all the time, even not today.
I feel like you're avoiding facts.
No. I'm answering your question.
No,
you're asking me why would white people act evil against their own mother and father?
They considered us gods.
Yeah, I'm answering you.
Why are they attacking us? What made them angry?
Inferiority.
Let's take
inferiority.
Let's take the children. Okay, let's take the children analogy. Umntwana uyakhula becomes a criminal uphuma emthethweni akezwa isihlungndlebe.
Yeah.
Are you going to blame the child or are you going to look at the parents who raised the child?
I look at the environment. I look at the situation.
Including the parents who raised the child.
Yes, of course. The whole environment includes parents.
So what did us Africans do to them that made them disobedient children?
It's not about what we did to them. Listen, it's about what they did with what they found in us. This is the conversation here is about. You see, also, I don't like to focus on they. It's the same thing with religion. Religion, race, all these topics are kind of distraction from the core. What is the core? Universality
of the concept of Ubuntu.
Yeah, so these things, but just because talking about Ubuntu does not mean you turn a blind eye to injustice. No injustice.
On both sides.
Yeah, on every side. But look, in the Congo, in the Sudan, and all these things, there's a conflict. The conflicts, Lena, go to the bottom of it. It's not ethnic conflict. They're not fighting because bayazondana. So yes, akhuluma nawe la offline ngelinye ilanga sihleli nomkhanya. Ngaphandle ngaphansi kwesihlahla. Sikhuluma ukuthi but sikhuluma ngendaba yokuthi
ama-conflict
abantu abamtsundu, African people never fought for that kind of thing. It was not usual that we fought to take over somebody else's something, right? We never fought over religion. Tao likes to say. We never fought over religion. You must believe as I believe. So there's a conversation we had offline, right? So the point I'm making is there's an external factor. It's like almost like these biblical stories where an outside entity comes between two people and whispers an idea. That idea has repercussions, and these repercussions.
Because me and you are speaking the same thing.
So it's a metaphysical
but this
issue.
person who is whispering
who they call God,
this division,
or even the devil.
At this point, we are the gods.
Yeah.
Who is this human whispering division in the God's ears?
So the point, it's mentality. It's in a human being. Like we all often say, there's many human beings in a human being. In a person of the person, baning abantu. Like hamba nabantu abaningi, right? So kunendlela esiphilisana ngayo singabantu whereby we have emotions. Our emotions lead us to think a certain way, even though emotions are usually described as something of the heart or something of feelings. You feel it, you don't think it. You feel it whether you think it or not. It's a feeling, it's an energy, it's a vibration. So as people live amongst each other, we interact. In our interaction, kube ne friction. And lama friction lawa, they cause intergenerational trauma. And that intergenerational trauma always comes back. So the children, I'm answering your question about the children, the so-called European and others. Our children and our children's children, in their behavior, I even said it, I think on the first episode of Unpopular Opinion, I mentioned this thing, there was those amongst our children. It just had to happen. It just coincidentally, they were the ones that were lacking in certain kind of elements of life in terms of the physicality. I won't go there. But they became so rebellious that bebengaphilisani kahle nabanye abantu. They were always invading, they were always skirmishes, trying to take people's things. They decided to live on their own because babedingisiwe. Ukudingiswa is to be exiled. So the exiled create their own nations. I'm trying to explain to you that this whole antagonism between different races, it has a history, and the history a lot of the time is not based just on just invasion alone. It's based on history of memory. So it's trauma.
Okay.
They took
so
something
now what
from
you're
me.
saying is
So I want to get it back
it's
by any
because
means.
of that trauma, and
Yeah.
it ended up kunje.
Yeah.
Now
So they came back basically as traumatized children.
now siqhekezela imizini yethu abantu abamnyama that look like us.
They learned from the real
Our
crooks.
daughter
Bengekho lento la esintwini. Emzini yabantu bengekho lento.
inkomo sasitshontshela
Bekuntshontshwa but besingagqekezi emzini yabantu. Ziningi izinto ebezenza but we're not criminals.
I think being the devil's advocate
We're
again,
never criminals like Europeans have
being the
created
devil
criminals out of
advocate
us.
again, and I'm going to
Yeah.
receive slack for this. And but
It's okay.
ngishayini ize ningilimaze ngishayini ngosazo oluncane. I think I'm of the opinion, after hearing so many arguments, on this and debates on this issue, I'm of the opinion that anything that has the hue of black, we put sugar on it, we force it to taste sweet.
Yes.
And anything that lacks the hue of blackness, we want it as bitter as it is. But we forgot that even that one, we had to sweeten it. We put the honey there. It is we who are saying, no, black crimes are the result of white people.
We don't justify, no one is justifying
I'm
crime.
saying, my question to you
Earlier
was,
on I said we're not
right
justifying
now,
crime.
the criminals
Crime is
that come into our homes, that rape our sisters,
Yeah.
are our very brothers.
But Pillar, in what system? What's the
Now-
environment for that behavior? Because that behavior is influenced by a particular environmental stimulus. The environment stimulates that kind of behavior. There's been times, you may excuse me if I'm sounding idyllic or utopian or fantastical. There are spaces here on earth. There are places where
Rape
people
doesn't
live.
happen in a royal palace.
There are places where there are places where people live in such a way that there's very little crime. Right, very little. You can leave your house unlocked. Even close here in Swatini and other places, even in KZN alone. In South Africa, there are public villages or spaces, just small spaces, where people are living a life whereby they don't have to worry too much about crime. And there are places where crime is one of the first things on their mind. Safety, security, because it's rife. I am saying to you that those situations are deliberate, they are creations. That situation is on purpose. So a black child or a black brother raping or stealing or killing or doing whatever thing which is criminal, which is wrong, naturally just abhorrent. It's not something that is natural, that is righteous even, right? So they do it because of the stimulus also. So we must understand causes and effects. Let's not mistake the cause, the effect for the cause. And I am not saying that, we are not saying,
What causes a black man to rape a black woman?
Evil.
In
evil
who?
inclination. It's an evil inclination.
In who?
An evil system. You must understand. Do you understand what I mean by system? Maybe I need to break this down. Can I break it down?
Yeah.
What I mean by system?
Mhlawumbe.
Yabona isystem in fact uhlelo.
Olubekwe ubani?
No,
Uhlelo ubani?
isachaza isystem.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to explain who creates it and whatever. Even nathi abantu abamnyama sinama systems ethu. People talk about indigenous knowledge systems. People talk about this system or that system. Isystem into esebenzayo or ayisebenzi.
Okay.
Iyi-system because iyasebenza. It is created, it's designed to achieve a certain result, right?
Okay.
So, certain groups, certain families in this earth that we live in have decided for a couple of hundreds of years, or maybe 1,000 or so, to create systems that result in them dominating other human beings. But in that domination, black people find themselves at the lower rungs of even any other kind of discrimination that exists in the world. Let me explain what explain why. So this thing is a historical. We have to analyze not just Black history, but the history of human development in succession and in terms of scale. Ukuthi kone okungakanani i-system yempoqa bulungu, how much did it damage? Not just on human beings, or black, white, whatever, just on the earth sphere. Yep, someone will say, no, it was bound to happen. Industrialization was going to be done by other blacks or Indians, whatever. In fact, vele Indians created the algorithms that create the industrialization or belungu, or the Muslims created the mathematics, or the Arabs, but all of it comes from Egypt. But also Egypt comes from Congo. But also Congo comes from the south. We all can try and justify our level of invasion of other people's, not just privacy, but sovereignty and peace of mind. So invasion yabelungu in Africa, no one can deny the fact that it has disrupted our peace of mind. So in our disrupted peace of mind, even in ngayo, and you cannot, it's not just Black people or African people who commit certain crimes, right? But I'm just saying that in this milieu that we are living in right now, the system of white supremacy and capitalism, which originates somewhere, usually in Europe and in other places.
Point of just a point of.
It has created criminals out of
not
us.
Contention or nyapigis.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, just I'm raising a point of information.
Of course.
Or it's a question rather. These white people.
They're not even white. Let's correct also terms. They are not white. We call them white, but yeah.
Let's say them.
Yeah, because now to be black.
These people, these Europeans who invaded and colonized and displaced and disrupted Africa.
Yeah, and the rest of the world.
Yes, the history is there. It's true. They disturbed our peace of mind. They disturbed
our land,
disturbed it.
The water,
my question to you is,
the rivers.
When they were spreading Christendom, when they were spreading the bounds of the Christian kingdom, the Christendom, did they not destabilize other European societies from their traditional and cultural ways of living?
They did.
Okay. That disturbance of those people's peace on a scale in comparison to us being disturbed by the very same system, who was disturbed the most?
Christendom and colonialism and other religions, the so-called Abrahamic religions, they all work hand in hand.
No,
there are two sides of the same coin.
Did that not first destabilize European society?
Of course it did.
Now,
it disrupted nature.
Now the question is,
these systems are nature disruptors.
My question then is, that disturbing of nature in the European context, is it of less significance than the disturbing of nature in the African context?
It is of no less significance. It's a replication of evil.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same replication of evil.
Our colonization by this system is the same colonization that was applied in Europe.
It was not the same that was applied in Europe.
It was the same system, though.
People. Okay, while there were witch hunts,
the witch hunts, the Inquisitions?
You have to see when you talk scale. How big is Africa
William
in your mind? How large is
William the
Africa?
Conqueror, Henry VIII.
Okay.
Bloody Mary. Elizabeth I.
Maria Antoinette.
Why was the Tower of London built?
Sithi thina mkhulu umkhuba wabelumbi ukudisrupta imvelo. Umkhuba, it is the habit, it is the bad habit of this
that disturbed Europeans as much as it disturbed us.
I cannot
as well.
sit here and speak for Europeans. I'm not even in Europe. I'm not even interested. It's okay if I'm being biased, but I'm being biased towards good, towards justice, towards self-preservation. Now, they're about self-preservation, but in their self-preservation, they want to take, they want to eat what is mine. Okay, let me quote Capleton.
Okay.
Let me quote Capleton. I'm quoting Irrigate today. I'm sitting in the Rasta. I'm in the house. I'm in Rasta house. But you say Capleton. Oh, it's Sizzler actually. He says they're done with their own. Now they want ours. Right? Talk about something mashing up the world down there. You know, they mash up the world. Now that their things are mashed up, they want to come and take whatever is still pure. Or take. You see, we must understand when you talk about Africa, you're not talking about Europe. You're not talking about any other country. So the discrimination sometimes is actually, the bias is actually justified.
We're not
Then explain why.
The evil, though.
No, we're not returning the evil. We are writing the world.
A black man can't be racist.
No, blacks cannot be racist in this
How when you
particular
are
time.
discriminating against the other race?
Discrimination and racism is not the same thing.
Oh,
No, it's not the same thing. Like colonialism and invasion of a particular small land. And you invade and you may come back. But if you invade and you stay.
I'm the devil himself.
You have to understand.
I can't understand that.
No, look. Let's take a case of Ethiopia, bafethu. Let's talk umlando. Bese siyabuya size la manje ukuthi in the Pentecostal churches of today, or the Pentecostal movements and the Messianic movements, because not all modern messiahs are Christian. Some are coming in their own different style.
Yeah.
But you know, my lordship of the highest level. You know, they are human, but they are more divine than you. See, the holier than thou thing, it's a symptom of that education called Christendom.
Are more equal than others.
Yeah, lento kade uyibuza ukuthi why amaZulu ebiza abanye abantu ngezinto noma ngengani theni ngelwanyana yabo abafokazana yabo. So it goes back to that. That is not the whole of ubuZulu. ubuZulu is not just about warriorship or about discrimination or about a certain thing. ubuZulu, now, so it's an evolving concept. Just like we know that the nation is born 200 years ago, but uZulu ubekhona many generations before that, maybe as a family, maybe as a person, or maybe as iZulu Kobolwane. So these things, what I'm trying to explain is ukuthi Europe's contamination of the rivers of the world and the oceans of the world is of such a grand scale that we cannot sit back as parents, as abantu, look at this genocidal destruction and do nothing. No. Yes, there are European children. There are some of our children who are fighting our environmentalists. They say save the whale, save the rhino, save the ocean. You know, they are working hard. Or Greenpeace. You know, they are human beings are human beings. We all love justice. But not all of us are for the preservation of life and harmony in the earth. There are certain people that make it into their whales? That make it in their they make it their purpose to subdue others and take what is theirs. We can't
look
stand.
After whales.
Black charities. Why must we look after whales? We've got elephants.
No, how many black charities look after elephants?
There's a couple in Zimbabwe and all in Malawi, and there's even one in
government sponsored
they are government sponsored because they are the people.
No,
they are for the people. In Sudan, there is one.
There's a girl I was reading.
Not in Sudan, in Kenya.
There's a white European girl, a European girl, 18, 19 years, no, early 20s. I was reading about just last week. A company wanted to cut down a forest.
Poachers.
And then
others.
She lived on the trees.
Deforestation.
For 2 years.
Struggling.
In a tent. Now, her friends, her family,
like many
people
of my
who are supporting Mamletelu. As Masego Ngamani did that to save a forest from being cut down, or
ubaba la emiddle esingayikude kakhulu la ePitoli ubaba ubani uMabhena baba Mabhena lo otshala ihlahla
lapha
eMamelodi entabeni lapha. He's just one. In KZN, let me explain. I'm giving examples.
Let's talk about that one example.
Yeah.
Because we both know it. Mabhena, he's working alone, planting trees. He made a bird sanctuary.
He's got
a team
but
working.
It's small.
It's a
small scale.
Those are people who are working to get bread. They're not people who are working
for the good of nature.
The person who's doing that for the good of nature
is that girl on the tree.
Exactly.
Uyamazi uWangari Maathai waseKenya.
He's playing for food. No. Inkosi uMabhena ngale, so he's taking care of his inheritance. He's no problem. He's doing it out of duty. Laba abanye are doing it out of bread. Mamela ngizama ukuthini?
To protect the land.
How many people around Mamelodi actually utilize that place?
Does he even have a budget?
Okay, this is what I'm saying.
It comes back to capitalism again. And if you're living in their system, but in their system, they can do flyers, they can advertise, they can pay you to do this.
See, advertise all white parties, advertise jerseys, advertise
advertiser. But now,
We
no
are
knowledge of
making
self.
the choice to advertise yonke nonsense, while the white people are making a choice to advertise what is beneficial for them.
When you
When
are
do
subservient
we
to a
stop
system, you don't make a
blaming
choice. You don't
and
even have
start
choice.
building?
You don't have freedom of choice. We are building now. Yabona lento siyenza la ukukhuluma kanje. Besides ukukhuluma nosikwenzayo in our personal capacities, in our different cooperatives, NPCs, whatever. Imisebenzi esiyenzayo siphanda sizama ukuziphilisa, but at the same time while we are giving to the earth.
But the danger
ngizama
of
ukuchazela
us with
ukuthi
a voice.
zonke lezo zinto lezo Nkosi. Let's not think just because there's a problem, there's nobody who's living the solution. There are people who are living the solution. I can count many, Baba Buntu, not just Baba Buntu, just various people in all over Africa. Mama ya Ashantewa, we Africology, Rasta basebenza no ya Ashantewa, bayatshala lapha. Inaya Pinky movement, KZN. No, those pockets, that's because we are disorganized.
Are going to, now, this
So
is where
let's
the organization
let's
is
look
going
at
to
the
come
positive.
in,
Let's accentuate the positive. To say that the things that we want to see happen are happening. Let's umlilo uvuswa utshani vuswa ngumlilo.
But my stand is,
let's speak the fireworks.
These pockets, you have an institution, I have an institution.
Yeah.
How about our institution?
Collaboration, that's it.
That's it. How about our institutions stop looking for differences amongst each other?
Yeah. And blaming the white man for everything.
And blaming somebody else.
It's a problem.
And then we start building together.
Let's do it.
Do you understand?
Let's start today. Sakhele phezu kwethu. Sekufana nokudaliwe shayini.
Sengibophile.
Yeah, makube njalo kasakheni.
Instead of finding differences,
instead
of finding differences and pointing fingers at each other and fighting an enemy that's not even in the room right now.
Yeah. Kune cooperative esiqalile kuthiwa iTari Corporation. Free advertising. iTari niyalazi igama lethi iTari chaza ukuthi abakhuluma imbeleko, right? Le mbeleko, it's basically a amalgamation of different people, different minds. They all happen to be African. Later, when we maybe expand our works, other races can join us too. But at the moment, we are only open to the African family, members of the African family, because our priority. See, then in order of priorities. See, what someone may look at as discrimination against some other people is actually discernment. You are saying, I do not want to be associated with that, but I would rather be associated with this, so that when this becomes what it truly can be, then it can blend in with other peoples. So we can become a people amongst people who have izinto zethu, who are not dependent on izinto zabanye abantu.
And I'm of the opinion that ngokubambisana, we could have achieved much more than we have achieved right now. Our society is very divided.
Especially
and we are divided on
religious.
political lines, we are divided on spiritual lines, we are divided on religious lines, we are divided on philosophical lines, opinions. We are so much divided, Tina Bantu, Abamnyama. And I'm of the fear, Yoguti, as a healer who dabbles in psychology as well and all of that.
Thanks for that.
There is intellectual conflict resolution, or the process of healing, where you need to take the problem,
analyze
and the victim of the problem, and find a way of making both understand.
Synthesis.
You understand? Now, I'm of the opinion that if ngizozivalela namaXhosa odwa, sonke ubuXhosa bethu sibe ne pride ngesiXhosa sethu, the day siyohlangana noMpedi siyolwa.
Not necessarily.
No, this is what
self-love, it does not mean hating the other.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. You're not understanding. I can self-love myself in your midst, ungumswati, without you tainting ubuXhosa bam. I can do that. But if I do that on my own, I have no opportunity to learn about the next person.
I don't disagree. I agree with you. Absolutely.
And in that lack of opportunity to learn about the next person, by the time I meet this person, I'm already discriminatory.
Yeah.
Because this person is not like me.
There's a word called prejudice. You're speaking about prejudice. You see, these things, prejudice, discrimination, racism, colonialism, they're not the same, but they can work together to form a particular way of doing things.
Right? Semantics. We are playing around with the same words, different words meaning the same thing.
Not exactly. Prejudice can be prejudice. You see, prejudice can be in food. I like citruses more than I like apples.
Okay.
It's,
as much as I like
it's a
black people
prejudice.
more than white people.
For me, it's even beyond the word like. You see,
No, ngisho
there's so many
ngizama
white people that
ukubonisa
I
it's the
like.
same thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's so
Yeah.
many white people that
It's
I
a
like.
preference.
I like their music. I like their art. I like their women. I like their whatever they are producing, whatever they are. I like them because
we are
they are
utilizing
who they
their
are.
language.
They are being who they are. Right. So I like people at their own merit, right? But when it comes to building, civilization building or nation building, or even raising a family, or raising something from a particular point, a point to a point where it is in another level, in another point. My concern is raising thina bantu, starting with my own family, starting with my own self, from a particular level of being. It's talking about crime, you're talking about all these social ills, talking about all economic level or whatever you may call it, subjugation of whatever kind. It is not prejudice. And it may be prejudice, but it is not racist for me to choose to focus my energy on building this that I feel needs more focus, right? And if it happens to be localized, it's fine, but I must guard against hating the other.
It's
not about hating the other. Yeah, but I do hate the enemy. And the enemy is not necessarily a person of race. The enemy can be amongst myself, right? But I hate is an emotion now. It has its place in the whole spectrum of my emotions are corner, right? So I do hate anything that disrupts the peace of people that should be at peace, whether it's myself or people close to me. Right? I cannot fight for Italy. I can say if there's someone who indiscriminately killed Italian people, I can feel sorrow. I'm a human being. I can feel how this person bombed the whole building of innocent children, or someone in Palestine, Israel is bombing Palestine. I have a feeling, I feel for the Palestinians because they're overpowered by a particular. So that kind of discrimination, that's discrimination. You're discriminating so that you know, okay, logo,
discrimination is not necessarily a bad thing. In closing, sizothatha break. Ngifuna ukukukhumbuza uMalcolm X. uMalcolm X, when he was in the Nation of Islam, he was this black people first.
Yes, he discriminated against the whites.
Our people first, the devil, the enemy, and when he realized the truth behind the closed doors of the leaders of this Pan-African Black Power movement, he saw the evil of these black people who are preaching black solidarity. He noticed that it's the very same black people who are sitting with the very same enemy on the table and drinking wine and impregnating all our children.
But didn't stop being pro-black.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Malcolm X made the decision. Yoguti, from now on, I'm standing on my own. And I'm for the total liberation of humankind.
Yes,
in our organization, before we did not want to work with Europeans. But now I welcome all races, people who stand for truth and justice. Now,
and he's right.
My question is, how long is it going to take us to evolve to that point of realizing, in order for us to heal? In order for us to heal, we need
to open our doors.
It's a point of evolution, and it's going to take time for other people to mature to that level. But how long is it going to take us to mature to that level? How long are we going to sit here and complain about apartheid? Sizothatha break.
That's reactionarism.
Sizothatha break. How long sizocomplain on apartheid?
We shouldn't.
Give thanks.